えナナ、私たちの出会いを覚えてる？私は運命とかかなり信じちゃうたちだから、これはやっぱり運命だと思う。笑ってもいいよ。
Nana is a 2006 to 2007 romance drama anime directed by Morio Asaka, written by Tomato Konparu, and animated by Studio Madhouse. It is based on the manga that's still been on hiatus since 2009, written by Ai Yazawa. God, I don't know how much money I need to pay to get the manga off hiatus and for the story to actually finish. And like mentioned last time, Monster was my number 10 favorite anime for a long time until I watched Nana about 3 years ago, taking the number 10 spot. This is actually the second time I'm reviewing this anime. I did one about 3 years ago, but since I started this project and am rewatching all my top 10 favorite anime, maybe some things about Nana have changed in the past 3 years. So let's get started, and just be warned of some minor spoilers throughout the video.
The title of the anime is from the name of the two main characters, both of whom are called Nana. There's Nana Komatsu, who is frequently called Hachi by the characters, who has a habit of falling in love at first sight and depending on other people to help her. And when her friends and then boyfriend leave for Tokyo, she decides to join them a year later after having saved enough money at the age of 20. The other is Nana Otsuki, the punk-styled lead vocalist of a band named Blackstones, or Blast for short. She dated fellow band member Ren until he was offered a chance to debut in Tokyo as a replacement member of a popular band called Trap Nest. Nana chooses to continue on with Blast and to cultivate her own career instead of following Ren, as she has too much ambition to be relegated to a rock star's girlfriend. She eventually leaves for Tokyo at the age of 20 to start her musical career. The two girls meet on a train by chance while on their way to Tokyo and instantly become close. After a string of coincidences, they come to share an apartment. Despite having contrasting personalities and ideals, the two Nanas respect each other and become close friends. While Blast begins to gain popularity at live gigs, the two girls face many other issues together, especially in the areas of friendship and romance. The story of Nana revolves heavily around the romance and relationships of the two characters, as one seeks fame and recognition while the other seeks love and happiness.
The greatest strength of Nana is its very human character, supported by some great character writing. All of the characters in the anime feel real and like people you could meet in your adult life. Sure, there are some exaggerations, but all the characters are meant to feel believable and relatable, as I'll discuss throughout the various parts in this video.
Through their personalities, their dreams, their faults, their past, and many other things, the characters featured in Nana feel like genuinely real people. Something that helps this is the writing and their dialogue. What they say sounds like what people their age would say. Their dialogue is funny, insightful, and meaningful to anyone watching who is their age going through similar circumstances. For example, I could relate to Nana's personality and fashion expression, while also relating to Hachi's strengths and flaws. Each character has a unique personality and their own way of expressing themselves. It also helps that the backstory of each character that is revealed to us in the anime are really complex and interesting. And one thing that is included in the anime that's not in the manga, as far as I'm aware of, is 4 anime original episodes that expand on the past of Hachi and Nana. These backstory episodes help to expand on what events shaped our two leads into the women that they are when we first meet them in the first episode. And these paths are what dictate their actions throughout the anime. While not dived into as much as the main characters, the side characters are also well developed too, like members of the rival band Trap Nest, Hachi's childhood friends, or even Nana's fans from her childhood home. Hell, we get 2 new characters introduced in the last few episodes of the anime, Mayu and Yuri. And even in the very few scenes that we have of them in the anime, I am instantly interested in them and want to know more about them, allowing for much expansion in the manga after the events of the anime.
Another thing that helps Nana's characters feel more real is the consistency in their characterization. And what I mean by this is that no matter what happens in the anime, no matter what the characters do or how they are affected by events in each episode, they always stay true to the characterization that was introduced at the beginning.
Whether they engage in character progression or regression, they never break character, and so they always feel like real people who would engage in these actions, whether they are good or bad.
I always hate when I'm watching something and a character would do something that they would never do based on their characterization, usually so that the writers can write the plot that they want without considering if it makes sense for the characters or not. And while I don't agree with some of the actions or decisions that the characters in Nana make, I can't say that these moments break the characters. because they never do.
And because of this, I never thought the same about each character over each episode. I can't tell you how many times I liked and disliked each character interchangeably throughout each and every episode. I liked them all in the end, but one episode I could find a character extremely annoying, and then in the next episode I could love them to death.
Real people are always changing and becoming different as every day passes, and the characters in Nana help to support this realism. And something that I absolutely love about these characters and how they are written is how almost every character has their own fatal flaw. A flaw that continues to fuel their loneliness, push their loved ones away, and keep them from being happy. I'll give a few examples from the main cast without going into major spoilers, with the two biggest ones being our two Nanas.
Hachi's flaw is her self-centeredness and loneliness. She complains and whines a lot, she doesn't focus on her work, and she's too selfish at times. But the reason she only thinks of herself is because of her fear of loneliness, not helped by being betrayed by men again and again at a young age. So she flocks to situations and people that are harmful to her because she has an innate fear of being alone and being left behind. And Hachi knows this. She takes several moments of self-reflection to criticize herself and hate upon herself. She thinks she's an awful person for the things she's done, but that just makes her loneliness increase even more, which eventually causes her to learn from her past mistakes to make a really big sacrifice in the last third of the anime, though I dare not spoil it. Nana's flaw is her abandonment issues and her possessiveness of others. Because her mother left at a young age and Ren suddenly leaving for Tokyo, Nana is afraid of being abandoned, which not only causes her to rely heavily on Nobu and Yasu, but also she becomes unhealthily possessive of others, most notably Hachi. Nana often manipulates people and events for the sole purpose of having Hachi remain by her side, because in this way, Hachi will always need Nana and Nana will finally have someone that she knows will never abandon her. When she reunites with Ren, she's afraid of Ren leaving her again, so she's conflicted between just being his woman and her future ambitions. Other flaws of characters include stuff like Ren's self-dependency on certain things to stay alive. Because of his life in an orphanage, Ren needs something, anything to keep him going or else he feels like he's gonna die. Whether that's keeping Nana in his pocket or another thing that I don't want to spoil. Shin has a self-destructive nature due to his neglectful family that wish he wasn't born, causing him to fall into prostitution and flock to older women. Yasu has a habit of putting others ahead of himself. Despite many opportunities to do so, Yasu refuses to sleep with Nana because he cares more about her and Ren's happiness, causing him to sacrifice many things in his life for them without anything in return. And lastly, Nobu's flaw is that he falls for troubled women that he can fix and protect, but lacks the assertiveness to go all the way with it. When big trouble comes in the way of his relationships, he is quick to run away and try to forget about his problems instead of facing them head on.
Even though these characters have their own fatal flaws and they do things that hurt the people that they love, they aren't bad characters. These flaws do nothing but help them be more interesting, more identifiable, and as I've said many times, it makes them human. On a minor point, while I'll talk about the animation in more detail later on and how I'm not the biggest fan of it, I did quite enjoy the visual storytelling and cinematography. The scene layout and composition are quite good, helping to elevate the impactful moments from the original manga.
I also enjoyed the music a lot, whether it was the background instrumental or the songs that the two bands of Blast and Trapness play. The background music helps to set the mood of the scene perfectly, and the songs that the bands sing are really fucking good.
There's a very specific tone that is felt throughout the entirety of Nana, and that is the tone of melancholy, as if we are people in the future looking at our past experiences as both happy memories and wrongful mistakes. And this is effective due to the narration that we have from both Hachi and Nana, predominantly done in the beginning and ending of each episode.
The writing truly makes it feel like these two women are older now, more wise and mature, looking back at their time together when they were still young and unknowing about the hardships that they would soon face. Hachi's narration takes up the first 2/3 of the anime, while Nana's narration takes up the last third of the anime. These narration moments sometimes create the most heartbreaking moments of the entire anime.
ねえナナ。ナナはレンにどんな愛の言葉をもらったの？あの時、それだけはどうしても聞いておけばよかったんだ。あの猫足のバスタブはもうここにはないよ。
Don't sometimes you look back on your past actions and are full of regret, wishing that you could have done things differently so that you could have been happy throughout your entire life? The narration also helps set up a mystery about where these characters are and what they're doing in the future. Future Hachi seems to always be calling out to Nana as if they've been separated for many years, and future Nana tries to tell Hachi that she's more mature now and want to make the same mistakes, as if something happened between the two that affected their friendship.
What happened between the two that caused this somber reflection? Well, you'll just have to continue watching the anime and reading the remaining manga chapters to find out. Something that I definitely noticed from the friendship between Nana and Hachi is how intimate they are with each other. They are both straight. Hell, if they dated each other in the beginning, many problems would be solved, but you can't deny the intimate connection that the two women share. And that element makes the anime unique, as you don't often see such a close female friendship done in media without the two women ending up dating each other.
They do various things that you would only see high school girls in anime do if the anime is emulating the Class S style of female friendships. They hold hands, cuddled in bed sometimes, blushed around each other, and took a bath together once. There's also that popular kiss scene where Nana teases Hachi while also thanking her for finding Blast a new bassist. Which isn't the first time she's done that to another girl, by the way. But once again, despite the joking of Nana and Hachi's misunderstanding of things, they are not romantically attracted to each other. Despite that, most of their dialogue, especially from the narration, shows a close and intimate female friendship that is the number one most important thing to them.
今だから正直に打ち明けると、私のナナへの憧れはかなり恋に似ていたと思います。少しも大人になんかなれないのに、もう甘えてばかりはいられない現実の中で、ナナはとびきり甘い夢を見せてくれた。とても幸福な初恋みたいだったよ。
Hachi states various times that if Hachi were a man, she'd instantly fall in love with her. And on the other side, Nana wants to appear to be that perfect summa to Hachi, always protecting her and providing for her, as if she were her wife.
If Nana was made in present time, there would definitely be an attraction between the two women that may or may not develop into an actual romantic relationship. Which again would solve a lot of problems both Nanas face, but what can you do? But still, I do appreciate the anime's look at a unique kind of intimate friendship that these two women share that you don't often see that much in this way in most media. I've talked about the great character writing throughout this video, but the dialogue spoken by the characters is no exception. There are some damn hard-hitting lines that I can relate to on multiple occasions.
どんな逆流にも踏ん張り続けることが人生なんだと私は思ってたけど、流されて生きるのはそんなにバカなことじゃないよ。前へ進めるなら。
Hell, you want to know how well the writing in Nana is? Leave it to fucking Sachiko. Easily the most underdeveloped character. To give the anime's most poignant line.
遠くなるほどよく見えるのに、近くなるほど見失うんだよね。
みんなそうかも。
Because, at the end of the day, that's the main theme of Nana. Loneliness, and the fact that everyone has it in their own way. It may affect them differently, but it's something that we all have. And despite the differences we may have, it's this loneliness that makes us all similar. For it's the loneliness that fuels our actions and how we live our lives. The same is true for the characters in Nana, which helps fuel the fatal flaws that I was talking about before, especially with Hachi. And while loneliness has been dealt very well in anime before, the first that comes to mind is Scum's Wish, nothing to this degree of adulthood and maturity, I can't tell you how much I identified with many of these characters in their various degrees of loneliness. And I'm sure the same can be said for anyone else who's watched Nana. And since all the characters, minus Shin, are adults, especially in their early 20s, another similar theme is that of facing the future. How do we achieve it? Do we pursue our dreams or do we pursue our happiness? What do we have to sacrifice in order to secure a better future? And when we finally enter that future, will we be happy with the results? Or will we look back with regret and melancholy?
While most anime deal with this coming-of-age theme with their many high school anime, it's much more hard-hitting, at least for me, when the same is done for adult characters, supported by a mature anime that is always hard to find. Now, I do have to say that unfortunately, while I had some problems during my initial viewing, I spotted just a little more in my second viewing. Nothing to change my overall feelings towards Nana, but some things that I noticed nonetheless. One thing I noticed on the second viewing was the animation. I mentioned before that I love the anime's visual storytelling and cinematography, but it's more of the character designs that I find issue with.
Not so much how they look or the clothes that they wear, that's all perfect. Ayazawa went to fashion school for a little bit, so all the fashion and the clothes that the characters wear are great. This being the same in our other popular work, Paradise Kiss. The problem that I have with the character designs is the characters' body proportions in most scenes. Either their arms and legs are too stretched out like it's a clamp anime, they are just too inhumanly thin, or they just look too bony at times. Oh god, look at Rin's hand in this scene! Give the man some fur!
This is a style that Ayazawa puts in her manga, but the character designs don't translate well from page to screen. I've also noticed that some elements and character actions in Nana are a bit outdated in 2020. Now, remember, while the anime aired from 2006 to 2007, The manga was first written in 2000, and though it lasted until 2009 before its indefinite hiatus, the characters and some elements are still clearly in the early 2000s, as the in-story time length is only about a year and a half, I believe.
For example, one of Nana's conflicts is her dilemma in either being Ren's woman, marrying him and bearing his children, or going with her pride and becoming independent in life and becoming successful with her band. Watching this conflict nowadays is a little outdated, as Nana shouldn't have to be Ren's woman and bear his children. She could just choose her music life. Or hell, she can do both. She could be with Ren, have children, and still pursue her music career.
The specifics of this dilemma would be updated if the manga is written in present time.
There's also the over-exaggeration of Nana's younger sister's style of Gangaru, which, if you don't know, is a makeup style done by teenage girls in Japan where they tan their skin to appear darker, especially in the face. There's also a joke about Junko's more dark skin that is a bit offensive in the visual department, and I just wasn't a fan of Shin's prostitution storyline, even though it does work for his character. It's mostly that he services to older women, which would make them pedophilic since Shin is only 15. This includes his main relationship with the singer of Trapness, Reida, who is 23.
So, in Japan, the Japanese Penal Code set a minimum age of consent of 13. But, going along with that, the Children Welfare Act, Chapter 34, forbids any act of sexual activity with children, which is defined as under the age of 18. These laws were instated many years before the manga was first written.
So, yeah, it's really uncomfortable seeing Shin and Reida together in sexual scenes. Again, it works for the characters and their troubles, but it's creepy.
And lastly, I don't like how there's no good conclusion for the anime itself. This is problematic and insane, of course, since the manga has been on an indefinite hiatus since 2009 due to Ayazawa contracting an illness that sent her to the hospital. While she did recover in April 2010, she hasn't made any announcement when or even if she'll return to finishing up Nana. The anime only adapts about half of what has been written for the manga, and because of this, the anime of Nana ends on a very somber and confusing note. Most things are not wrapped up in terms of character storylines and where the plots seem to be heading in various places.
Characters don't get to resolve the conflicts that they have with each other, leaving it on a very unsatisfying note. Yes, there's more manga to read, but that also only goes so far. Even though the anime ended where it did, I wish that it did it in a way that felt more conclusive.
In the end, Nana is another underrated anime that I don't hear as many people talk about. It truly is one of the most mature stories that I've ever seen in anime in terms of its human adult characters, featuring great writing and consistency throughout the board. Almost every character has a fatal flaw that makes them complex and very relatable to those who've gone through similar problems. The anime also has great visual storytelling, cinematography, and music that greatly enhances the story away from its manga origins. I also love the narration throughout the show, especially in their opening and ending moments, setting a very melancholic mood. I also found the intimacy between both Nanas pretty unique, and I absolutely love the anime's main theme of loneliness and facing the future. And even with its animation and its character designs, its outdated ideas at times, and its non-conclusive ending, it doesn't stop me from bawling my eyes out each time I heard each Nana reminisce on the joy of the past and the mistakes that they regret making in life. And who knows, maybe someday we'll see both Nanas again, sitting across from each other at the table by the window in room 707, drinking from their strawberry glasses, and talking as if they've known each other all their lives. I'm going to give Nana both a critical and a personal score of an A-. I want two things. One is that I want the anime to stream legally on some streaming site like when it was on Netflix before. Second, I want someone to pick up the distribution rights to Nana again so I can own some goddamn physical copies. But anyway, thanks for watching my number 10 favorite anime in my top 10 anime project. Look forward to next time with number 9, and it's gonna be one hell of a dandy time.